Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GLOBIS Stories podcast. I'm your host, W. Tanner Kirk. Today, I'm joined by GLOBIS alumni, Saya Shirakawa. We just learned this morning that Saya will be flying to Osaka this afternoon to get to class in the evening, but she made time to come talk to us this morning about her Kokorozashi, her GLOBIS journey, and her life and career in Japan. So, Saya, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Saya, obviously, you are born and raised in Japan, and the podcast has a very global audience, and I'm sure a lot of people are curious to learn what it is like to grow up in Japan. So, could you explain just kind of, your life in Japan before GLOBIS? Yeah.
Okay, so I grew up with the working parents, and then at that time, it's very rare situation for having the working parents, and so I'm a little bit there, like minority in the Japan. So I feel like being different in Japan is kind of tough. But and some people said to me that I'm fragile because my mother is not in the house and couldn't take care of me. But I feel like I'm really having working parents is really lucky for me because of that I could study abroad 5 times, and it's very a lot, and it's very rare case to go to the foreign countries. It's very for studying. It's very rare, and so I really having working parents is very lucky, and I could get the weapon of the surviving skill. It's in English because my mother says that the IT skill and English is very important for being for the living in Japan. So I could get the English skill and the IT skills. So I could, and because of it, I could survive. I can survive here, like in competitive society, and having the confidence. So that I feel like the growing in Japan, being different is very tough, but it's luckily because until the student have to be like same people, but after the graduation and then people have to be like different. Being like differentiation is very crucial for the living in Japan. So I feel like I'm so happy to having them, and I really appreciate them to be have the weapon of English.
That's incredible. I love that phrase, the weapon of English. As a foreigner living in Japan, sometimes I feel like it's the opposite. But that's amazing. I think there's a couple of things in your story there that I'd like to explore. So first off, growing up, both your father and your mother worked, right? So your mother had a career. And so for our listeners, our viewers, in the Western world, I think for a while now, it's been much more common for both the mother and the father to have full-time careers. So for people around the world, that might not be that might not be something that really differentiates you from other people growing up. So could you explain a little bit what about your family situation is so unique growing up in Japan, having a mother that works as well as your father?
Yes, because sometimes the parents feel like the women should be in the house and housewife, but my mother didn't say anything about it. Like the people I shouldn't stay in Japan, or I should stay in houses, or I should stay I shouldn't she didn't say anything for the giving up the career. So it's very different from others, and I feel really happy about it. Sometimes I heard like some women said I should have that she asked her parents to stay in house or housewife, or that's part-time job is okay. But she didn't say anything to me. Like also my father too. My parents said education history is very important. So she gave me opportunity to go to the master degree before the GLOBIS. So I'm really happy about it. I didn't have to giving up anything. Yeah, so it's about being. I think my family is really uncommon, but it's good for me to hear.
I love that. Yeah. So I guess a lot of people in Japan might feel like because you grew up in a house where your mother was working, she wasn't a housewife, so she wasn't there all the time taking care of the house. Some people might say that you grew up disadvantaged because you didn't have a mother there taking care of the house all the time. But for your perspective and the way that your life turned out, your family life, it was an advantage because you had your mom was a strong professional woman and she inspired that within you as well.
Yes.
That's amazing. You also said that you traveled to 5 different countries in your childhood?
Like 5 times goes to...
Oh, went abroad 5 different times.
Yes, 5 different times.
Okay, where did you travel?
I went to the United States, in New Zealand, and Australia, and the United Kingdom.
Wow. Where in the United States did you visit?
Long Beach, California.
California? Okay. So out of those 4, which was your favorite country?
It's difficult to
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, both are unique countries, and there's a lot of attractiveness. And I spent a 4 years in the United States, and also my parents love United States. So I feel like the United States kind of second home. Yes.
That's awesome. So I'm from the East Coast of the United States. I'm from Philadelphia originally, which is right underneath New York City on the map. But I feel like at this point, I've been living in Japan for 8 years. So at this point, I feel like Japan is like my second home. So it's always nice to hear Japanese families that feel that kinship to America. That's amazing. I've never been to New Zealand or England, but I did visit Australia in my early 20s. Have you ever seen The Lord of the Rings? The movies? Yeah, they're filmed in New Zealand, right? Yeah, I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings. It looks beautiful there. But I digress. So, how did you get so good at English? You can obviously speak English very fluently, and so you're welcome. And again, most people I think that are watching the podcast are very likely studying either Japanese or trying to improve their skills in another foreign language as a global community. So, what was your experience like learning English, and do you have any advice for anybody on studying a foreign language? Not necessarily English or Japanese, just studying a second language in general.
Okay, for me, I started studying English from 9 years old because my father had to go to the United States for a job for 1 year, and then my family decided to spend the summer time with my father. So I studied English from that time, and then I went to the United States for like 1 month, and then I couldn't speak at all. And I have an older brother, and he was the junior high school student, and he could speak English fluently more than me, and I couldn't. So I was so lonely, and I couldn't speak. They even talked to me, but I couldn't understand. And I feel so lonely, and I want to study English from now on and keep continuing. And that's why I can speak English fluently, and also keep studying, and also try to be put on the English mode, try to watch the podcast or English TV drama, English TV, and listen English music a lot, and then I can put in the English mode and can speak. Listening and speaking is very important for me. And from I don't know. When I took the TOEIC test and stuck in around 860 or something, and then after I entered the GLOBIS as a pre-MBA, I could improve my English skill. So I sometimes recommend some people to take the GLOBIS class because we can use the 4 skills like speaking, listening, writing, reading for all skills. So I sometimes ask some Japanese GLOBIS mate ask me how can I improve the English, and I recommend them to take the GLOBIS class in English. That's you can improve your English.
It's like exercising a muscle. You gotta keep using it. So when your father worked for a year in America, you guys all came with him, and then so you lived. How old were you during that time?
It was I was 9 years old.
9 years old. And so did you go to like public school in America? Or
No, it's a summer camp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for 1 month.
So you really just got kind of thrown in the deep end
Mm.
speaking English at 9 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. So are you mostly self-studied? Have you taken a lot of formal English classes, or do you mostly just study on your own?
Like until the high school student, I took the English English conversation class, conversation school from 9 years old and until high school student. After that, I study by myself.
Gotcha. I think it's really good advice, especially these days. We have all of these tools, like even watching Netflix can be a way to study a foreign language. I have a question for you. So obviously, I'm studying Japanese, and I've lived in Japan for 8 years, but I still struggle with speaking Japanese. And I think for me, something that I continue to struggle with is being nervous or feeling afraid to speak to Japanese people because I have this fear that if I say the wrong thing, or maybe they won't be able to understand me. And I know that this is a hurdle I need to overcome to improve my Japanese. And as a natural-born Japanese woman sitting here, obviously, like participating in a podcast fully in English, it's really impressive. So, do you have any advice for the people watching about getting over that kind of fear? I think that's something that a lot of people feel when they're practicing a foreign language, like that fear to communicate with other people in that language. So, how did you kind of force yourself to start communicating in English?
I think there are two ways to do that. Like one way is go to the school, and you can get the confidence to speak English, speak the language we want to learn, and then the professional said to me that this is good, this is not good, and you have to do this or some things immediately. So I think it's good, and also I'm still taking the classes at the conversation class because I want to improve my skill, and also speaking the correct language and grammatic is very important. I think to communicate, sometimes miscommunication happens, so that is really crucial for my job. So I'm taking the classes at the conversations class, so it's very important. And also the second one is like the talking, a lot of trial and error. As many friends who want to speak, who want to teach or say improve that kind of volunteer work, people who really love talking to you or something, and you can use them or you can ask them to I want to improve my language, and then people happy to help, I think.
Right. Awesome. So it's kind of like you have to get a solid foundation at the beginning, and then reaching out to a community or finding a community of supportive people who you feel comfortable talking around. So even if you make mistakes, it's not the end of the world. I think that's great advice. So you mentioned your current role. Do you want to explain that to the audience a bit? And also, do you use English in your day job?
Yes.
Okay. Could you explain to the audience what your current day job is?
Okay, my current job is working at the Panasonic Energy as a factory tour guide, and so I explain to the customers how to make a battery in the plant, and then also I will have to negotiate or ask them to what to do or what not to do, and in English and also in Japanese.
Okay. So you have do you work with international clients? Okay. What are I guess we'll circle back around to your Globis journey and how it connects with your career. But I'm curious, you've been working at Panasonic for two years now?
2 years, around 2 years.
Before you got the job at Panasonic, what were you doing?
Before that, I was working at the container shipping company. It's a logistic industry, and my previous company was a customer of the current company.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know how foundation what is a battery is, how to deal with it. So that's why I can enter the Panasonic, I think.
Gotcha. were you looking for a job that you could use your English skills in? Like, were you interested in finding a more international job, or was that something that just kind of happened?
I was studying actually I want to enter the Panasonic because I know the people who are in the Panasonic, and he always says that working at the Panasonic is very happy and nice. So I want to enter the Panasonic and then got the job.
Gotcha. So I'm curious, how did you first find out about GLOBIS?
Okay, I saw at first I want to study marketing in English because I love the business is very interesting. So I want, and also the marketing. And my brother loves talking about the business with me, and he saw he watched some TV program about the behind the scene of business, and I always feel like it's very interesting. So I want to study marketing in English, and I saw the advertisement of GLOBIS and of trial class in Osaka. So I jumped in the trial class, and then I talk about after the trial class, I talk about the student stuff, and then I found that I could study with just one class. So I just take the class of essential marketing and strategy from the next term.
Gotcha. Do you remember who your instructor was for the trial class?
Carl.
Carl?
I forgot his family name.
That's okay.
I already remember the Carl.
So I guess it must have had an impression on you. Do you remember anything significant about the trial class that really stood out to you?
I remember the case study was Zara, and I bought the Zara's clothes, and it's very interesting, and I could find out why they don't have any advertisement at all. They have ship one, and it's very interesting.
Gotcha. And so you have taken the part-time MBA program.
Yes.
Could you explain, again, for our viewers listening at home, there are several different programs that a GLOBIS student can enter. So what about the part-time MBA particularly spoke to you or worked for you?
Because I don't have to quit the job, and I can continue my work and also studying both. It was tough, but it's very rare case in Japan to quit the job and study full time as a full-time student. So it's very common for the part-time and work. So it's very important for me I don't have to quit and I can study continuing. And also the class is nighttime and also the weekend. So it's very good for me.
Gotcha. So I'm glad it worked for you, but even just listening to it as someone that works full-time at GLOBIS, I can't imagine having to take part-time classes on top of my full-time job. It just sounds like so much work. So how are you able to juggle your full-time job as well as your part-time MBA?
When I decided to enter the GLOBIS, at that time I have a lot of overtime work, so I wait for another year to enter. And overtime work is kind of settled, so I could study in the cases, and also I try to see the cases during the commute time and also the break time, or everything. I have a time, I try to read the case and think about the assignment or report, and also I told my friends or family, parents that I'm taking the classes, so I have to focus on the study for 2 years. So I asked them, so my parents have to wait decrease time for me. So after I graduate, I try to spend with my parents because of it.
That's amazing. So I think something really significant that you said there is when you first learned about the part-time MBA or you first learned about GLOBIS, it wasn't really the right time because you had so much work to do. You were working overtime, so it didn't feel like the right time just then, but you waited a year and then you could make it work. So I think that's really important to keep in mind, even if it's something that you're really passionate about doing. I think that can apply to any facets of life. If there's something that you really want to do, but circumstances in your life are preventing you from doing it right now, that doesn't mean that it won't work later on. So it's always something that you can come back to and explore later. Another significant thing that you said that really stood out to me was that it seems like you communicated with your family and your support system and kind of asked for support and asked for that acknowledgement that I need to dedicate my time to doing this thing. And so it's really important to have a supportive family and community around you. That's amazing. It sounds like it goes back to your childhood as well. Like you've always had really strong support from your parents.
Yes.
I think it's awesome too. You said as a kid you grew up, your dad really enjoys talking business with you. So he must be really proud of you now, seeing how far you've come. That's amazing.
Yes.
It still blows me away too that when you came in to the studio here to record, you mentioned that you have to get on a plane to go to Osaka to take a class tonight. I love that. It's amazing. So thinking about all of that as well, obviously at Globis, we place a big emphasis on our Kokorozashi. And so for listeners who might not be aware, Kokorozashi is a Japanese term that essentially means your personal mission. Or when we spoke with Olin Marone, who's the head of student recruitment, of global student recruitment, she mentioned she thinks of Kokorozashi as like what gets you out of bed on Monday morning. So it might not even necessarily be what gets you, that's a very tired term, like what gets you out of bed in the morning, what motivates you to wake up and claim the day. But even if it's something like what motivates you to pursue your career. So having said that, do you have a Kokorozashi?
Yes.
What is your Kokorozashi?
My Kokorozashi is making a society that people happy to live with the psychological safety environment. And I changed it twice. When I entered the GLOBIS, my Kokorozashi was like making the win-win situation for everyone. And I took the internal leadership class, and I changed the Kokorozashi to like making the situation that people happy to work with psychological safety environment, because I was struggling. I tend to struggle with like relationship with the senior coworkers or bosses. So I just focused on the working environment at that time. And then I heard like I still remember that I entered leadership class and the day 5, and the lecturer told us that Miss Okata Sadako-san, and she said that she have the higher education, people who can take higher education is very limited. So we have to contribute to the society. And I was really impressed of her words. So I changed the Kokorozashi to the speaking the society to people happy to live. And I'm doing the pro bono after graduation, and I try to contribute to society with my MBA knowledge. And it's very helpful, and that's why I'm taking the class again. That is the social venture management, and because I want to know what is the social venture needs, and I can do more like good one that for the pro bono.
That's incredible. So I think the reason why I asked at first if you have a Kokorozashi is that many students don't feel like they have a fully fleshed out vision for their Kokorozashi when they first enter Globis. And obviously that's totally okay. And you mentioned that yours changed 3 times throughout your studies. So it's also okay for it to evolve and change over time. Do you want, or can you share a little bit about that journey? You already explained a bit, but was there any story maybe that stuck out to you that helped you realize that your Kokorozashi is something that can evolve over time and it doesn't have to be something set in stone?
When the class about the leadership and talk about Kokorozashi, and I thought that at first I should not change the Kokorozashi at all. But in the class, lecturers told us that the Kokorozashi can be changed, and the improving and keep improving is very important. So changing is okay, but I feel like the foundation of my Kokorozashi doesn't change. The same the one, and then a little bit change it, like sometimes narrow and sometimes broad. So it's good for me, and having the mind in the heart is very important, like a connecting dot, having one, and then keep continuing, and then lead to the what I want to do, to be. So it's very important for me to having the Kokorozashi.
I really loved what you said about the foundation of your Kokorozashi didn't really change, but it was more about connecting the dots along the way, and it almost reminds me of like storytelling or telling a story. As a writer, it's all about making revisions. So even if the core mission stays the same, it's refining it over time and kind of like going through different drafts as you go through your GLOBIS journey, and then at the end, hopefully you have a very solid, clear vision for what you want in your future. So it sounds like GLOBIS had a pretty big impact on your outlook and your professional development. So can you explain to me a little bit how, or have you noticed any big changes in your career since completing the part-time MBA?
Yeah, I think so. Like I could have confidence during the journey. And at first, like my lecturer told me that I couldn't say my opinion at all. So my lecturer advised me that I should say my opinion, even though you are not worrying about the correct or not. And the student staff and lecturer always told me that there is no best answers, only better answers. So there's no answers. So I have to say my opinion. Otherwise, people cannot notice my opinion. That is very impressed on me, and then because of it, I could improve myself, having confidence. And then before that, my interview was really weak point, and even though I passed the document, I couldn't pass the interview. But after the enter the GLOBIS, I could pass interview, and I got the job offers from the 3 companies, and one is a Panasonic, one is a different pharmaceutical company, and one is another manufacturing company. But it was very surprising because I couldn't have that much job offer before I entered the GLOBIS, and I could, after GLOBIS, just half year, and I could improve myself, and I could have confidence, and I could pass the final interview of big company. So it was very impressive, and that's why I want to contribute to the GLOBIS, because the GLOBIS changed me a lot, dramatically and positively, and I could enter the Panasonic because of the GLOBIS, I feel.
That's amazing. Well, first off, congratulations. I mean, that's amazing. The story of you struggling to be able to get through an interview, and then you graduate GLOBIS and you get 3 job offers. And then also, obviously, we're doing this podcast right now. You could have fooled me. I couldn't believe that you would struggle with interviewing beforehand. You seem so comfortable and natural at this point. So that's amazing. I mean, I'm really glad that it had that impact on you. So it seems like you're pretty happy in your current career, your current job. We won't tell your boss, but I would love to know, like, what are your plans for the future? What is your outlook for maybe the next 10 years, if you've thought that far ahead?
I'm still searching. I want to use English for my job. I don't know which way, how big. So and there's many options in the company. So it's big company. So there's like many jobs for like just I can use English a lot. So I'll take the coaching from next month, and I can find out what I want to do in the job.
Okay. You mentioned you were doing some like pro bono work as well.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay. So that is the pro bono there is a club in the GLOBIS, and that is a social action club. Only it's Japanese, but I can take it from even though I'm the English program, I can take it. And then every 3 months they I can apply the pro bono every 3 months, and one of it I'm doing the pro bono is for the people who have working parents, and then the short stay program. Yeah, because some parents are really tough and feel tough, and it's difficult to raise the children for every single day. So they can put the short stay program like the week for just weekend, and then they can spend the 2 or 3 days with separately, and they're having like relaxing time for both. Yes. So and
Nice.
I try to have the pro bono, and then try how the NPO organization want to like increase the donation from the company and also the customers, and we can talk about how to increase it. That is my pro bono kind.
Gotcha. So, I mean, that sounds like it's really connected too to your childhood and your past. I'm sure you can really relate to the kids that you work with, growing up with two working parents. What kind of things, like what kind of activities or stuff do you do with the kids at the program?
The NPO organization having that also after school run, and also should say that program,
Right.
and we are working for both kind of, and how to increase the donation of from the company, and like kind of monthly supporter.
I see.
Yes, and then yes.
Yeah, so you don't work directly with the kids. You're assisting the program from the operations perspective. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. All right. Well, I just love for anyone that isn't aware, by the way, like pro bono obviously means you're not getting paid for it. Yeah, so it's like volunteer work.
Yeah, volunteer work for with skill. It's kind of volunteer work, but the pro bono is for that with skills like MBA or marketing or a business analytic or something with skill.
Right.
It's for the pro bono.
Right. Fantastic. It's nice to see kind of your journey come full circle. You know, working for this organization that helps support kids with two working parents, which is something that you grew up with, which was obviously a very defining part of your childhood. So on that note, this is a question that we ask every guest on the podcast. But with everything that you know now, all of the knowledge that you've gained along your career and your Globis journey, if you could go back to maybe 9-year-old Saya, who just arrived in the United States and couldn't speak any English, what would your one piece of advice be for 9-year-old Saya?
Like keep improving yourself is very important, and it's going to be the weapon, because I feel like doing the study English from 9 years old and still now, and that is my weapon for surviving skills, and it's very helped me to live myself and also confident, and it's very helpful. So I want to say to 9 years old me, and keep improving and don't give up, even though there is a hard time, but there is something to like good way, like good. I don't know, but the positive way that happened to you. So yeah, like don't give up and keep improving is very. I want to say to me.
There's a very bright future ahead. Amazing. Okay. Well, Saya, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or mention before we wrap up?
Okay, I want to thanks to the Globis, because of the Globis I can change a lot, and dramatically and positively. It's very helpful to have a weapon and surviving skills. So people who are like want to change their life dramatically and positively, you have to go to the Globis and take just a trial class, and then you can impress how the lecturer and students are really warm and welcome you. So I want to say that about it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, we know, Saya, you got to get on a flight to Osaka, so we don't want to make you late. Thank you so much for making the time to come out and talk with us today. And thank you so much, everybody out there, for watching or listening. You can find us on YouTube, all the major podcast platforms. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.